Hey, it's Vincent here from Vincent Games, your untapped source of MTG info, tips and discussion. Welcome to episode 2 of my Magic the Gathering vlog. What have I been up to this week? Well, I mentioned briefly in my last video that I had some success at Games Day. I won Games Day. I have a playmat to prove it. Worthy champion, apparently. So that's me. So yes, I did have a good little tournament at my local store, doing very well with black white zombies, and that was then followed by dismal failure at a PPTQ this Sunday just gone, when I took the same deck, more or less the same deck, to the PPTQ at the same store and got pretty trounced almost every game. I think I went. I think I won one round. I drew another round, so I basically lost almost every match. Every round I won a game, so it wasn't a complete depressing experience, but I didn't do particularly well. Now, what's the takeaway from all of this? I kind of want to talk about cumulative upkeep, if you will, with Magic the Gathering. What I mean with this is that I didn't do the right amount of work before the PPTQ. So the actual event, I made one play mistake in the first round and maybe one other play mistake that I'm aware of in a subsequent round. So that wasn't great, but the biggest failure for me for the whole thing was not doing the right amount of work before the event. Zombies did very well at the Pro Tour, but hasn't placed as significantly as well as Red-Blue Control or just Team and Marvel. And I've been a little bit aloof in my approach to Marvel, thinking that if things go well, I practiced against that deck more than Blue-Red. I knew Blue-Red was a bad matchup, and that deck growing in popularity should have been big warning signs to just move away from zombies. Black-white zombies is slower than mono-black zombies, and my reason for choosing black-white zombies to play at Games Day was the theory that more people will be bringing zombies or other creature-based aggro decks, because it was earlier on the format and those decks archetypes were popular. Black-white's got good tools to beat those. However, the way the format's shaping up sort of since then is that going in against these blue-red control decks with a slower version of the zombie decks is not where you want to be. The matchup was horrible. When I played it twice, it was not good. So essentially, I should have been paying attention to the signs that were there, looked at what was going on in the format, and applied that to what I should have been taking in this PPTQ. I definitely suffered because of that. So yeah, the alarm bells were there, but I didn't take any notice of them, and I got a bit overconfident with winning Games Day and didn't apply any of the information I had past that point to the deck that I then took to the tournament on the PPTQ. And believe me, I don't mean this in any negative way, but Games Day is worlds apart from a PPTQ. So I should have known that, without being nasty, like the type of decks that I'd be seeing would be much more streamlined and alongside the expected meta in the PPTQ, as well as fighting on average a more difficult opponent, especially getting into the latter rounds and potential top 8. So I should not have been comfortable with my deck choice just because it won me a Game Day, which is something to bear in mind if you're thinking about a deck to take to a tournament. Just because it's won an FNM for you might not necessarily mean it's the right decision, or just because in my case I did well with it at Games Day doesn't mean I'm going to have that same success. You've got to constantly be aware of what's happening in the world around you and apply that learning. That's what I mean by the whole cumulative upkeep, is that you've got to work hard and really crush it at these events and make the right plays, do the right things, but you've also got that ongoing sort of upkeep, that work involved around keeping up to date with everything and play testing and learning about the meta and how things are changing before you even sit down and shuffle up for the first round of an event. And I think that's something to really kind of bear in mind. So that was a big learning for me, something that I want to share with you today, that it does pay to really apply that thought before you approach a tournament, and think about what you expect to see, rather than just kind of sitting on your laurels on a deck that you might have done well with or have had good experience with, if it's not necessarily going to be the right decision or the right call for a given tournament. I knew zombies, I was comfortable with it, so a little bit of laziness there in not changing the deck led me to that incorrect decision. But we live and learn. And moving on to more positive things, it is a new season for Planeswalker points, which basically means that if you're interested in such things, you can look at the Wizards website, Planeswalker point website, which I'll put a link to in the description below. You just need to sign in or create an account if you haven't already done so, and you can keep track of your Planeswalker points, the points you get every time you play a sanctioned game of Magic. And when you play in more competitive events, shall we say, like PPTQs or Games Days or Grand Prix, then you get these multipliers to those points. So the best way you can improve your ranking is to play more competitive games of Magic. So with the new season, I had a chance to reflect on how last season has gone for me and trying to create a goal that I can work towards this season. So last season, I was ranked 447th out of everyone in England. I had 782 Planeswalker points, and I really want to try to work towards achieving 1,300 Planeswalker points this season, which would entitle me to a bye at Grand Prix. More importantly, I really want to work towards halving my current standing in the country overall. So to get to, let's call it 220th overall in the country, that would be really good. That would give me something to work towards this goal, to improve where I finished last year. I wasn't overly focused on attending as many events as possible, but this year I want to have more focus on improving, getting better at the game, and having a goal can really help. Having goals is really important towards achieving that, because if I didn't have a goal, I just said I wanted to generally get better, there'd be no sort of metric to improve. So at least hopefully this time next year I can say to myself, if I've achieved my goal, well, I have improved because I would have had to win more games of Magic, play more games of Magic, to get to that level. So I'll actually have a way of comparing and contrasting. So goals are really useful for that. So that's another key thing to take away from today is the work that you've got to put in to get better. So the amount of upkeep that this game has, is you've got to be switched on. You've got to know the meta. You've got to know what cards are there, changing and moving into different decks, even if the meta is staying the same. But also having a goal to help you achieve what you want in Magic as well. I mean, it all sounds very serious and very focused, and that's just how I want to approach it. I mean, it might not be the same for everyone. That's just my advice that I can give to you if you're wanting to get better at the game, is to have a goal, have something you want to achieve, and work towards achieving that. And I really do truly believe that if you have that goal and you're working towards that goal, then you will achieve far more than if you don't have that, because you can get to that point and look back at and compare sort of then and now. So consider setting yourself a goal. In fact, that would be the thing I would say, to really challenge yourself. If you're trying to improve at Magic, then set yourself a goal. That goal might be to go 3-0 at your next FNM. If that's all that goal is, then that's great, because that gives you something you can tangibly work towards. You can work out what you need to do to achieve that, whether that's changing the deck that you're playing to win that FNM, or listening to more articles. There's so much great content out there. One of the questions I had off the back of my last video was sort of general sort of tips to get better at playing Magic. I would say check out the quality of content that's already exists for playing it. That's all free for you to go and read. The two really obvious ones on that are Channel Fireball and Star City Games. Just Google them if you're not really already familiar with them. Just read their free content that they put there. I guarantee if you don't already do that and you just read their articles, even just the standard ones if you're not into older formats or limited, just what you can learn about standard just from reading those is so valuable. It's almost kind of, I would say, nowadays it's like the bread and butter. If you're not keeping up to date with those two main content providers, there are other ones as well. I'm not going to list all of them, but if you're not keeping up to date with these kind of content providers, you are really missing out on a lot of what's going on. You don't ever want to be in a position where you've lost a game of Magic because you didn't know what a deck did or what your opponent was up to. Just keeping up to date with the decks that are out there is the easiest way you can improve at Magic. It's just that one thing you can do. It doesn't take a lot of time. If you're traveling to work, if you're not driving, if you're able to read or listen to things, podcasts are another good one. MTG Cast Network, I would recommend checking that out. Incidentally, that's where my podcast is as well. I run a podcast as well as what I do here. It's at glimmerofgenius.podbean.com. It's a nice seamless little transition into that little advert there for my podcast. But yeah, listen to my podcast. We talk about the format and we talk about decks that are popular and ways to try and combat what's being played and our thoughts and opinions on things. That's also a really good way to learn and improve as well. I'm hopefully going to try and touch on little things in each of these videos to improve and help with the game. But yeah, that's the first thing I would recommend is just checking out other content that's there. It will vastly improve your performance in the game. You won't even realize it. You'll just be sitting there and someone will do a simple thing like they'll play a creature on turn 1 or 2 and you'll be like, oh, they're playing that creature, that puts them on this deck, which I know about because I've read it in an article. Whereas just not knowing what their next play might be. And because you know what their next play might be, that's going to help you to make better decisions in game. So yeah, can't recommend that enough. Finally, I'm going to open this booster pack of Amonkhet. Not really a booster as such, but it was the fancy pack that they made for Standard Showdown. So that was one of the prizes on offer for the Games Day. So I'm going to be opening this now because it's fun. Why not? I think you get invocations with this, but it will be interesting to see what I get. I'm going to show you before I have a look myself. So, what have we got? That was a Sorin. Oh yeah, that's great. The last pack I got of this was just complete rubbish. So I got a Sorin for my prize pack and Collective Defiance. So another great rare. It was just I actually got this as a second Collective Defiance I've got from one of these packs because I opened one of them on the day and then I saved the rest. Okay, so Collective Defiance and then Full Art Swamp. I don't actually have this card, so that's quite welcome. Trying to get a complete set of everything as well, which is insane, but yeah, that's pretty sweet. And then the foil is a Shadow Glider. I mean, I can't be upset with a Shadow Glider when I've just opened a Collective Defiance, Full Art Swamp, and Sorin Grim Nemesis. So yeah, that was pretty cool. Happy with my prize pack. So that concludes this episode of my Magic the Gathering vlog. If you enjoyed this video, then hit that thumbs up button and consider subscribing so that you are up to date with all of these vlog episodes as I put them out. I've recently done a Living End Modern League, which you can see the link for in the description below. It was great fun playing a little bit of Modern. So check that out if you're interested in some Modern action. But before I go, I want to ask you, what are your goals for improving on Magic the Gathering? More specifically, if you don't have a goal set for getting better at the game, but you're really interested in improving, what is your goal that you can set yourself to achieve that? It might be something really small, like I said earlier, about just going 3-0 at your next FNM, or it might be something like, I want to top 8 at PPTQ. Let me know what your goal is below. I want to hear about what you're doing to get better. I know I've repeated myself a lot, but I think it is really important to have them. It is all about the cumulative upkeep in this game. What are you doing when you're not playing Magic to work towards getting better? What playtesting are you doing? What articles are you reading? What learning are you trying to achieve to get better at this game? Leave a comment below and let me know how you're bettering yourself. But anyway, that's enough from me for now. It's quite an intense learning and grinding episode there, but apologies for that if that's not really your thing. But it's kind of where my head's at the moment. So yeah, if this is something you're enjoying, then great. Let me know in the comments below. Either way, really good feedback I've had actually about these videos, about the things that people want to see. And there are going to be some other videos about sort of general tips about the game as well in due course. I really wanted to discuss this because I felt this hit a couple of the questions that I was asked, as well as kind of sharing what I've been up to at the game at the moment. So yeah, that's that's about everything I have for now. So if you want to stick around for more content, do check me out on Facebook as well. It's Vincent Games. You can search me up there. Follow the page. If you don't want to leave a comment on here, then you can follow me there, and I post fairly frequently on there, sort of what I'm up to, what I'm doing, thinking, deck ideas, that sort of thing. So it's a good place to join and become part of the conversation. So please do check that out if you've got something to say. In the meantime, thanks for watching and stay tuned for more.